GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly. Ooh. Need an answer to your question? John, you'll have a suggestion. He's a fountain of all knowledge. I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Hey, John. Hey, John. GarageBand Weekly.
Well, hello there. G'day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome into GarageBand Weekly for another week. The show that's about GarageBand, sure. Why not? But also about Logic Pro and Apple creation and mobile creation and home recording and, hey, Fruity Loop Studio? Maybe? Pro Tools? I don't judge. That's the thing. People think that this is GarageBand and it's Pete Johns and he only wants you to use GarageBand and Logic and only wants you to use Apple stuff. Nah. I want you to use whatever works for you that's going to get you creating your best music. That's all there is to it. That's all that this is about. This whole caper is just about sharing your gift of music with the world. Hey, on the show today, we're going to go through some news and notes quickly here at the start. We're going to open up and have a chat to folks and answer any of your questions that you might have about GarageBand or Logic Pro or anything that is on your mind. And then we're going to dive into our feature topic, which is part of the Apple Creator Studio, and that is the new Synth player. Yeah, it's some folks have been confused about it because it's not a brand new instrument. It's not adding to the keyboard player and the bass player. It's actually part of the keyboard player and the bass player. So even when you go into the manual, it's kind of hard to find the details of what we're looking at there. So to give you a complete overview of all of the different settings, we're going to go through it together. I've got the manual. Yes, we're going to RTFM. I've got the manual for the synth player here, and then I've got my iPad here with Logic Pro ready to take a look at it. But before we go into any of that, we're going to do a quick whip around the grounds and say g'day to everyone who's here with us. Hello to Scott Borthwick, to Dave Bops. Hello to you. Hello to our wonderful moderator, Thomas Christ. Yes, you can go and check out all the details. Let's turn that delay off. Reverb off. You can go check out all the details about everything I know about GarageBand is at the GarageBand FAQ over there. So you can go check that out at your convenience. Hello to Ed Z. G'day to Lewis Cook. Hello to Marky Mark Bro. And to Eric Boy. Hello to you as well. Al Davis Music's here. Hello, Alexander Dean Francis. Ali Gratilla. And I think I saw, yes, Emilio, my fact checker extraordinaire. The one and only Emilio, who knows more about what's going on around here than I do most of the time. Hello to Mark's Noise. Mark's Noise, you donated yesterday on the show, and I think I thanked you, but I can't recall if I thanked you properly. I know I put you up on the screen, but I don't think I actually called you out. So I'm giving you an extra call out to say thank you, because your donations do mean a lot to me. It is why I can keep doing this. Why this is my job is because you folks help me out. Hello. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late to dinner. Party Leela. G'day to you. Leels, I hope you're all doing exceptionally well. What's going on in the world of Apple? Well, the Creator Studio. We're now a couple of weeks in, right? In fact, let's do a poll. I haven't done a poll on the show for a while. So let's set ourselves up a little poll here. I just have to go into my own show, which is always weird to set this up. I'm wondering, have you tried it out? Let me know in the chat if you're here live. Have you actually tried? Are you part of the what do they call it? The free trial? Have you taken up the free trial? So let's create this question here and say, have you tried Apple Creator Studio? And the answers are going to be yes, and I'll likely keep it. I think that's going to be part one. Likely keep it. No, I mean, yeah, yes, but I'll likely not subscribe. Sub. I can only put sub in there, and then we'll have no. So it'll just be interesting to see of the folks who are here who's actually checked it out. We're going to click the poll there to start the poll, and do let me know. Have you checked it out? Because like most things, like it's so predictable. It's actually boring how predictable the response on the internet is. Soon as Apple announced this, You had the people that the whole world is on fire. Oh no, Apple are going to subscriptions for their apps. We didn't see this coming. We saw it coming. No way. I'm leaving Apple forever. I'm burning my iPhone. Don't burn your iPhone. Lots of bad chemicals in there. I'm leaving the Apple ecosystem completely behind. And then you have people that are like, "Yay, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I can't believe that it's only going to be $12.99 a month, and I get all these great apps." Blah 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 blah. The reality, the truth, as always, is somewhere in between. Which is that it's a change. For some people, it'll be zero change. If you already own these apps on your Mac, there's no change. You don't need to change anything at all. You can just ignore all of this because you're still getting the updates. If you're on iPad, it's a bit of a different story because if you're using Logic Pro for iPad and you're only using Logic Pro for iPad, $4.99 versus $12.99. It's still a big saving to just be on Logic Pro. And Apple have said that you can keep it as just Logic Pro, at least for now. Just don't unsubscribe because as soon as you cancel that subscription, they're not offering that as a new one. So for newcomers, it's only Apple Creator Studio, which means you get Final Cut and Pixelmator Pro as well as the Logic Pro, of course. So yeah, it is. It's unfortunately the internet works on reactionary stuff. Like it rewards people for being negative and it rewards people for creating angry. It's why there's so many channels that are focused around just making you angry about all the things that are happening. Same with AI music right now. AI music's in the exact same space where there's people that are absolutely just cheering it on and there's people that absolutely hate it. And the hate people are just trying to generate, like the amount of videos I've seen that's like, why sudo is the worst thing ever and it's going to destroy the world. And it's like, you know what? It's not. It's somewhere in between. These people are going to get bored and it's going to go away by itself. It's like Bart Simpson with the comet. It'll burn up in the atmosphere and just be the size of a chihuahua. That's what we're going to get. All righty. What have folks got to say about it? Leela wants to check it out. Thomas has it. Still need to dig deeper in stuff like Motion and Mainstage. Yeah, I need to play with Mainstage. I have my MacBook, and so I was setting up out in the other room to try and do some like live shows. And I thought to myself, I don't know if it's going to work this way to use Mainstage as I'm streaming from the MacBook. But there's got to be, like using Black Hole or something, there's got to be ways to do that because it would be kind of cool to be able to play GarageBand instruments while I'm doing a live show. Like just have a keyboard hooked up and be playing like organ with one hand and guitar with the other. No, that wouldn't work. You kind of need two hands for guitar. But still, maybe using some guitar amps or something like that. I don't like Creator Studio having a subscription model. Let it be free like GarageBand and Pages, Keynotes and Numbers. Yeah, well, look, it's probably not going to be free because they want to sell it, but let it be like an outright purchase would be nice. I'm on record as saying that I would have paid $200 or here in Australia, $300 because we pay the Australia tax, $300 for a copy of Logic Pro for iPad on my iPad when it was first released because I just would have preferred that. It's not the way that the world is going. Mark says that waiting to see what's coming on a hardware front in the next couple of months, but I'll probably get it. Yeah. I was wondering whether it might push me towards buying Logic on Mac, but that's not going to. But if that's not going to a subscription model, there's no particular rush. Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't think that you're not going to be able to buy it anymore. Okay, that was bad. It seems you will still be able to buy these apps on Mac. So that shouldn't be a problem for folks in the future. What it does do, though, is it gives you the option to, like when you're trying it, like Mac's always had a free 1 month trial for Logic Pro anyway, like full featured. This is the thing. This is why Apple do good things a lot of the time. The trials are 100% free for the Mac version and for the iPad version. Like you were able to actually try it out for a month for free or 3 months for free if you get it with a new device. But given that when you go to the Apple configurator and put together a new Mac right now, it's still offering Logic Pro and Final Cut. Like that'd be the first place they would stop offering it because they'd be like, when you buy this Mac, would you like to subscribe to Creator Studio? Like that'd be an option, but they haven't gone that way yet. So I have hope. And yes, nothing is free. No such thing as a free lunch. Pages has a bug where it freezes when you tab out for a bit and then tab back. So it's going to be a problem. Yeah, okay. I must admit, I don't use Pages or Sheets or Numbers. I still pay for an Office 365 subscription. Here's the thing though. what I need to do and what I'm keen to understand is, because at the moment I pay for Office 365, which is what, $190 a year or something like that. It's a lot. I also pay for Canva, which is $10 a month. And if I can replace them, if Numbers is actually good enough replacement for Excel, that's a good thing. The big problem I have is that I'm a OneNote user. Where are my OneNote users at? Yeah, I've been using OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, for my notes for over a decade. So I've got so many notes in there. We're talking all my song lyrics, all my song ideas, all my admin stuff for the business, all my music related stuff, all of my show ideas and video ideas and scripts, and everything's in these giant notebooks in OneNote. And I haven't worked out a good way to convert that over to something like Apple Notes or something that I might be able to use. So we'll see. Maybe after Saturday, I'll enjoy the day with it. My first rack outboard gear should be all done this weekend. Nice. I like it. Hello. Oh, thank you. I recently found your videos about mixing as I got a 2025 iPad for Christmas as a present. I mean, using GarageBand with the apps. Yeah, it is. It's very, very cool to you. Like, it's amazing what you can do in just GarageBand, third-party apps, plugins, all the cool things you can do. Excellent. I'm very glad to hear it. Hello, Rhythmius. Look, as you've probably worked out, this is called GarageBand Weekly. We don't really talk about GarageBand all the time. In fact, today we're doing Logic Pro stuff anyway. So do I think, yeah, this is a good question. And this is probably the $1 million question, or at least the $129 a year question, $12.99 a month question. Is it that much better? Yes, it is, but don't use it until you find you're limited. Like, I'm a fan of limitation. I know it sounds a bit weird, like, oh yeah, you should limit yourself and make things difficult. But no, I'm genuinely a fan of limitations, especially when you're starting out. The great thing about GarageBand, and I've said this a bunch of times, so people are probably sick of me saying it, but the great thing about GarageBand is you fire up GarageBand and it gives you this, right? It's like, it's an interface like this. You want to play a bass, you come in here, you tap on the bass, and you play a bass. You're not plugged in. I have my audio interface. I wasn't plugged in with my audio interface. In a moment, once that registers, you'll be able to hear me play the bass. So yeah, you want to play an instrument, you literally just go to here, and it is so simple to get started. You've got an idea for a melody, you jump in here, you grab the keyboard, let's go in and say, oh, I want to try this idea on a clarinet. And you're playing, you're away. And yeah, and it's so intuitive and so easy. You want to play a drum, guess what? You go into your drums, you get yourself a beat going on here. So yeah, in terms of barrier to entry, GarageBand is gold. So I always say to folks, use GarageBand first, get good at GarageBand. Absolutely put GarageBand through the ringer and learn everything you possibly can. Watch hours and hours of my videos about GarageBand. And then once you hit those walls, you're like, oh, I want a couple of extra plug-in spaces on this track. Or, oh, I've hit the 32 track wall and I want a couple more in here. Or, oh, when I export it always does that auto normalization thing. That's where you go, right, let's try out Logic Pro. So Apple won't like me saying this because they would probably prefer I say, everyone use the paid version of everything immediately. But I honestly think that there's really good reasons why you should play around with Garage. Same with video editing. When people start video editing, I say grab iMovie. It's the easiest, simplest way to get into video editing. You'll just learn. You'll learn about cutting. You'll learn about where and how to make cuts. You'll learn about managing audio and video. And then you can move on to LumaFusion, Final Cut, Premiere, whatever you like. Anyway, that's my take. That doesn't surprise me, Ed. I think we have some similarities in the way we manage and the way our brains work. the overthinkers of the world, we need a place to throw all of our thoughts, otherwise our brains will overload. So yeah. And notes have oh, great. Well, yeah. I won't move over to notes just yet either. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. As soon as you hit the mastering phase, that's where GarageBand, it's doable. And you can watch my mastering videos on GarageBand, which has a few sort of workarounds and hacks. But Logic Pro just has such a clean and good mastering workflow. that it's kind of a no-brainer. Bradley says, I use Office 365 on Mac due to the fact that Word and OneDrive has better accessibility with the voiceover. Yeah, I don't know that, but I do know that there are a lot of people that do use the Microsoft, because Microsoft have been doing voiceover and been doing accessibility for decades, from like Windows 3.1 days. What software do I use for invoices? Do you want to know the sad truth here? Word. Microsoft Word. Yes, if you get some services from Studio Live today, Pete John's trading in Studio Live today, you'll get a lovely a template that I use in Microsoft Word that has my logo and has that. Mostly because I don't invoice a lot. Like, because a lot of the work I do around here is sort of automated. So I have sort of like things like DistroKid who sponsor my show. That's sort of a month by month thing. So yeah, it's very low volumes of invoices, and things like YouTube. Like they pay me. I don't have to invoice YouTube. Same with Patreon. So a lot of the stuff I get these days, I don't use invoicing much. So therefore, I use a very simple, and my accounting is Excel. So yes. Sorry if you wanted to hear some fancy, I've got this integrated system and I use Xero accounting and then it auto-generates invoices and sends them out. No, it's Word and it's Excel. It's not fun, it's not sexy, but it's cool. Ed says, seems like Apple wants the iPad to be a sidekick for the Creator Studio apps, with the Mac being the home base. Yeah, that's a fair statement. I'd agree with that. I think they... Because the question is, why don't Apple do a touchscreen Mac? And the answer is they want you to buy an iPad too. That's the reality of the situation, isn't it? They want you to have an iPad and a Mac, and they do think that, despite the fact that we have Logic Pro on the iPad, they do think that people that are running Pro Studios are probably using Logic Pro on a Mac, because it just has, like, for external gear, for outboard gear, for sample libraries, for AU plugins, for things like Contact that a lot of people use. None of that can really work effectively on iPad. So I think you're right, Ed. Yes, EQ is a pain. The thing with EQ is people overdo it. People think they have to EQ everything all the time. If you get it recorded, if you get a good quality recording with a decent mic into your device, you generally don't need to do that much EQing. EQing should be removing frequencies that are bugging you, as opposed to what a lot of people do, which is like, let's boost the bass on this, and let's boost the mids on this, and let's boost the treble on that one. Mac would never be my home base for anything, but streaming, no touchscreen, no credit. Yeah, look, the touchscreen does give you that real creative flow, doesn't it? Like, just from what you saw before there. Like, just the fact that I could just reach out with my hand and tap in these hats. Like, yes, I could grab a trackpad and but it's not the same. You can just like move things around and is that a bop? Not so much. I would rather have GarageBand Pro, more channels, more plugins than Logic on. This was my prediction. Didn't come true, but my prediction was exactly what Alexander said here, that Logic Pro wouldn't come to iPad because it wouldn't be pro. Like, the features wouldn't be pro enough for a professional musician. And that was the criticism that a lot of professional musicians and creators had when Logic Pro came to the iPad. They said, this could be Logic, but it's not Logic Pro. This is GarageBand Pro or Logic Standard. So, yeah, I agree, because despite the fact that Logic Pro for iPad has everything I need to create music, that's because I used to create music in GarageBand for iPad. So Logic Pro is a massive upgrade for me. If you're going from Logic Pro Mac to Logic Pro iPad, it's actually a significant downgrade, despite Apple saying, round trip, full integration thing it was Ed or Mark's point before. I think they're really looking at the iPad as being a companion to your Mac. Logic is. It's either Logic Standard, Logic Vanilla without the Pro, or it's GarageBand Pro. GarageBand Pro would be stupid to me. Well, the thing is, GarageBand Pro should kind of just be what GarageBand should be. Dare I say? Because the 32 track limitation, let's be honest, no one's got very few people are using iPad Air 2s and having problems that once you go past 20 tracks, you get optimizing performance every 5 minutes. We've got past that. The hardware has well and truly outpaced the software. So the limitations, the 32-track limitation of GarageBand is arbitrary. The fact that they don't have an option to turn off auto normalization on export is arbitrary. It's probably just because the code's been built on other code, on other code, on other code over the years, and there's nowhere where they can easily add that in. It's been baked in to the code for GarageBand over the years. So I think that the reason Apple don't change it and don't add those things is that now that they have Logic Pro, they want you to subscribe to Logic Pro. So adding additional features to GarageBand, which are quality of life things that would help you with your mixing and your mastering and your track count, I just don't think that's coming. Maybe I was wrong before. I'm ready to be wrong. And look, yeah, it is, in terms of interface, it is totally different. You're right. I think there's benefits in learning GarageBand and then Logic, but even the interface and even how you set up a track and how you add a new track. That's why I said before that GarageBand, the good thing about it is it's so visual. You jump in there, you tap the screen, you're just looking for the icon of the thing you want to play. Logic Pro, just trying to work out where to add a keyboard, as we'll see in a minute when we start playing with it. Yeah, just knowing how to get started is a significant problem. There used to be a mode. Yes, there was, wasn't there? There was a simple mode. There was like a non-pro Logic mode on the Mac. Haven't looked at it for long enough to know if that's still the case. I have a problem with my Windows PC. Focusrite AT2020 sounds way better on my iPhone than on my PC. Mic quality isn't there anymore, and a lot of noise that isn't there. Will MacBook fix it? So Windows depends. Windows PC, it should be the same, but sometimes there are separate Windows drivers for, even though the Focusrite, if you're using a Focusrite Scarlett, it should be plug and play. There's specific drivers that you can install for Windows that could improve the overall quality. The other I have had similar things with problems with Windows. Windows tries to add some things. So depending on the sound settings and the sound card that you have in there, even when you're using an external interface, it shouldn't be the case, but Windows likes to put its own little wrapper, its little layer over the top of it. So what you usually need to do is go into your sound settings and just turn everything off. Look for things like audio enhancement, echo cancellation, bass boost, super adaptive, funky music time fun. Because Windows kind of wants to hold your hand, and it's designed for people that are literally, using the speaker from the laptop or using the microphone built into the laptop. But as soon as you try to add some pro audio gear, it tries to wrap that layer over the top. So that's what I would do, is firstly see if there's some updated drivers specifically for Windows for your Focusrite, and then secondly go into every sound setting and just turn everything off, because that's usually the problem. Yeah. When it comes to yeah, exactly. There's about a dozen different places that it can change where it is. I'll just see if we got. It's been a problem for 6 months. Some people say a powered. That's the other thing. You could indeed try that. So a powered USB hub. If you plug your USB device into directly into the computer, especially if it's a laptop, it may not be getting enough power, and that can have that problem. Usually just makes it cut in and out as opposed to sound quality, but it could be that there's not enough power to drive the preamp, which might be why your microphone's sounding bad. But yeah, powered USB hub is definitely an option, or I'm actually about to buy another one, or something like the Ugreen Rev Dock, which is this one here. Something like this. I'm getting, this one's a fancy version. You can get the $20 one that just has the power pass through and 4 USB ports. I'm upgrading because I want one that has network. So this one has 3 USB, 2 USB-C, a HDMI SD card reader, and network. And that's $55 Australian, so probably about $40 in the US. Yeah, look, and having that, so if you're having a powered hub or having something like that, an adapter with USB-C power pass-through, that you can actually pass through usually at least 60 watts of power, it just gives you better options there. Alrighty, let's turn off our poll. Let's end the poll, and yeah, so people not super excited. All right, well we'll finish the show there then, folks, because. So you'll see there that we've got the results of the poll. So 83% have not tried Apple Creator Studio, even with the free trial. 13% have and will likely keep it, and 4% have but will likely not keep it. So there you go. Interesting stuff to see what's going on there. Right, we are 27 minutes into the show, and we're now starting the news and notes. That was a long intro, but it was great. I asked for it. I appreciate it because I really wanted to get folks' views, because it helps me with the channel here. It helps me decide what I talk about, because if you're throwing your experiences out there of the things that you're playing around with, then that tells me what I can make new videos about. And I appreciate that. I probably won't make one about the PC thing because I do have a PC sitting down here, and I've got like my laptop PC. I haven't turned them on in over 2 years. So I don't know. I don't even know if they would power on. I hope so, because there's probably some fun old videos and things and music on there. But yeah, I'm far from a PC expert these days, to the point where my dad asked me for tech support. I used to be able to help him so much better, and now I struggle to remember how to use Windows, especially Windows 11. My goodness, I miss Windows 7. Windows 7 was my favorite Windows. XP was definitely the thing I used the most for the longest, but Windows 7 just seemed to be the perfect balance. It didn't try to do too much. It just did things, and what it did right. I don't know. I think I might switch to Mac. I disabled every audio enhancement, got the right drivers, even bought 2 interfaces because I thought the first one was faulty. Yeah, right. That's weird. That is weird. Sup, Pete? You're my time reminder to get back in the old GarageBand and get to it. Tumbleweed 411. Yeah, get back in there. Get in and create some music. Have some fun. Because music should be fun, right? All right, news and notes. Now that we're officially like 30 minutes in. So new Macs apparently. So there's been more rumors about new Macs. So fresh report says that multiple Mac models are imminent. The expected updates are likely tied to Apple Silicon refreshes. So we're talking the M5, because remember, we've only got sort of the entry level M5 stuff. We haven't seen M5 Pro, M5 Ultra, M5 Max. So we've been waiting for this. So if you're sitting back and you're waiting, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a new Mac Studio or a new MacBook Pro, like the real Pro one that has like the Pro chip in it, then I would hold at the moment, because it does look like that we will see some new Macs pretty soon, and that will put Apple's Mac roadmap back on track. Wow, that's whack. iOS 27, yeah, just when you thought you were safe in 26.2.1, 27, what they've said is less flash and more fixes. And I, for one, am happy to hear that. We do not need any more liquid glass. We do not need any more new features. We don't need you to take away slide over and then only to put it back again. We just need you to for the first time, I would love to say, if this update just said stability improvements and bug fixes, I would celebrate. I would cheer with joy at bug fixes and stability improvements. So yeah, basically I think 27 is going to be, it's going to be the iOS 8 to iOS 7. So do you remember who was here for the great iOS 7 debacle, where we moved from 6, which was super stable, super slick, worked really well, to 7 that was just absolutely rubbish and everyone hated and everything was in a different place just arbitrarily and all the icons had changed and everyone freaked out. And then iOS 8, they had to fix everything that they broke in iOS 7. Well, sounds like 27 is going to be the same sort of thing. It's going to be the let's actually fix the things under the hood that were working fine in 25. There was no 25 in 18, and then we kind of broke in 26. So here's to 27, and I may even do the beta if it's good, or if it looks like it might be good. I might even check out the beta of that one. Beta. I was going to talk about Super Bowl music. I'm just not going to, except to say, oh my goodness. Who knew that the halftime show would get more coverage, be talked about as more, if not as much, as the actual football? But yeah, Green Day rule. Let's just say that. iPhone 18. So the iPhone, yes, just when you thought it was safe, the iPhone 18 is well into development because it'll come out probably in September. It's when it always does. So the changes may impact the camera layout. So that'll be interesting. So if you know your iPhones, you'll know that the Pro versions use the 3 camera layout here, use the honeycomb looking thing at the top there. Your other models use 2. Your older models use the 1. There's different layout. Like this basically says I'm using an iPhone, right? The Samsungs have them all down the side. Pixel has their own layout. Some have 4, some have freaking 5 different eyes there. So it'll be interesting to see. They basically change the design every now and then, just so that you can show that you've got. I think that's why they made the case on these new ones look so ugly, because even that's an ugly looking case. Can we just agree that having a clear case with a big white panel on it for no reason is just horrible? But that means that people know I've got a 17, not a 16. Yay. When I bought this, I didn't actually realize that it had that bit. I just assumed it was the old clear case that I've been using on my phones forever. But no. And the final little bit of note here is Apple's AI pin compared to a talking AirTag. So this is interesting. I think that, again, hot take here. So if you haven't been following the AI pins, these are these little pin, literally like a little pin thing that you pin onto yourself, and it's literally just a speaker and a microphone, or in some cases a camera as well. So you've at all times you've just got this thing that's looking at what you're looking at, hearing what you're hearing. You can talk to it, it can talk back to you, and it's AI. So you can ask it questions. You can do the whole hey bugger lugs. You can do the whole GPT type large language model questioning. And I just think that people don't want this. I don't want this, but people don't want this. I think all of the talk about the fact that, the phone is going to be long gone. Like Zuckerberg's out there saying the phone's going. Sam Altman of ChatGPT is saying the phone's going. They want this to be the case because they don't want to be beholden to hardware manufacturers. They want everything to be up in the cloud. They want to own all the data side of it, and then they want the device to just be not even a problem, not even something you really even think about or care about, as long as it's connected to their metaverse or to their universe. And it's like, nah. No, I just don't think so. I just think we've reached the point. The reason that phones have looked like this for about 15 years now is because this is the best form factor for information. It's the best form factor for having a camera to take pictures with you on the go. It's the best form factor for doom scrolling social media. It's the best form factor for watching videos when you're on a plane. It's the best form factor for all the things that we do in 2026. And I don't think we'll sacrifice this and trade this in for a little AI pin that we have to talk. Because let's be honest, voice assistants, they're still got a long way to go before they actually work. The amount of times that I ask something to do something and it actually does it correctly versus giving me a completely wrong answer, yeah, it's no bueno. It's just another thing I don't really need. Yeah, exactly. Spot on. Hello, Dr. DC. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you here. Got the Mac Mini, the most affordable option if you already have. Yeah, Mac Mini is definitely the way to go if you've already got a monitor. So, 8 gigabytes of RAM is okay. You can go the base level of RAM. I'd always recommend 16 if you can afford it. Do not go with the default level of storage. The one thing I'll say about a Mac is that don't do what myself and Thomas and Jade and others did and get the 8 gig RAM, 256 gigabyte storage model, because if you're doing any sort of music creation, you will need more than 256 gigabytes of storage. So 512 is now the base, which is lovely. That's the absolute base bare minimum. 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes if you can afford it. And look, yes, you can plug in SSDs like external hard drives and the rest, but you don't want to live the dongle life. You want as much self-contained stuff as you can. So you can install GarageBand, you can install Logic Pro, you can have all the sounds and the samples, you can have all your projects all saved there on the one drive, and you don't have to think about it. So that's my advice, and it looks like Mark has given similar advice. All right, halftime show was very well done, though. I don't have Bad Bunny on my YouTube Music because old, but yeah, exactly. I'm the same. I didn't know who Bad Bunny was a year ago, and I still don't really. But I've heard that it was a good show. And the great thing about it was that I was able to clean up my Facebook friends straight afterwards because there was a really clear indicator of who I needed to remain friends with based on which halftime show they decided to watch. See? Hey, it's Augur's Audio Cult. I bow down to your presence. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for sharing your music on our show yesterday. It was cool. Righty. I thought it was awesome that did Ricky Martin make an appearance? That is cool. I didn't know that. Did he? What was the song he did? The World Cup song, was that him that did the Cup of Life? It did the Cup of Life. Da, 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 hey, hey, hey. Oh, hey, oh. Yeah, probably. That's my Ricky Martin reference is from like 30 years ago. That's because old, a bit like Thomas Christ, because old. Good to see you though. I hope you are doing well. All right, shall we crack on and look at some synths? Please keep the questions and the comments coming. Please hit the thumbs up button if you are having fun just hanging out and having a bit of a chat and talking all things creativity here on the show. But yes, we are going to dive in to the synth player because I've covered this. I've done a bunch of videos already on this, but I want to go deep and I want to find this stuff out. And I thought, well, if I'm doing it anyway, I have to do it for my own research. I'd be silly not to do it on GarageBand Weekly, and we can all learn together. Yeah. All right, let's do it. We're going to jump over here now here on the Logic Pro manual. If you're playing along at home, this is on page 271 of the 1102 page manual. Yeah, Logic Pro's got a big manual. So this is the intro to the synth player styles in Logic Pro for iPad. So the synth players are electronic bass players and keyboard players. The synth player styles are 808 bass, pump bass, and sequenced bass. And the synth keyboard are rhythmic chords, modulated pad, and simple pad. You load synth player styles in the synth player editor the same way as other session player styles. So this is the interesting thing, is that it's not actually its own instrument. As I said before, it's not a separate player, it's a style that you use with bass and keys, which confused the heck out of me when I was first using this. So in addition to many common settings available to all session players, there are settings unique to each of the synth players, including LFO, envelope, and slides, depending on what synth player you use. When you choose a synth player style in the session player editor, the patch loaded uses the Alchemy plugin to generate sound. However, you can use synth players with any software, instrument, or external MIDI tone generators. And you can check out all of the different things there. So the synth player loops in the browser that you can add to your project in the same way as other loops. So we can add them in as Apple loops as well. And then we've got the topics about editing a synth player performance. So we can change synth player LFO styles, change the synth player's performance, and edit the synth keyboard. So the bass and the keyboard. So let's do this. Let's play with some synthesis. All right, so we're going to create a new project here in Logic Pro, and it's going to crash. Happens all the time, doesn't it? Only when I'm live. You can believe me or not, but I don't think I ever have anything crash when I'm just playing around by myself. But as soon as I go live, it's like it can sense it, and it just immediately decides now is the time to crash. All right, let's open a new track. Go into track view, session player, and we are going to add in a bass player. Let's start with some funky bass, shall we? So we'll tap on session player to add our bass player. So by default, it's going to give us our pop songwriter here. It's going to have a sound like this. And it's given us a chord progression too. Should we go with that chord progression or should we try something new? Let's go the 1, 5, 6, 4. The classic, right? So then it's going to do this. Very, very typical kind of chord progression here. I want to speed things up a little bit, so let's ride the tempo up here and do something because we want it to be funky. Let's do it at like 123, shall we? So we get a little bit of this. Forever young, I want to be forever young. Okay, so the bass player, you got your main tab, your details tab, and your manual tab. We've played with this a bunch of times, so we won't be covering all of the different things that we have here. We're going to look at some of the bass synth specific ones. So we're making a synth track, so let's change this up. You got 3 different types of synth bass. We've got pump, 808, and sequenced. Does the manual tell us which one to try first? So change synth player LFO styles. Here we go. All right. So to session player, tap the session player, bass or keyboard, choose the synth player style from the list under synth. So we'll do that, and then we will come in and change the LFO style. So let's jump back over to the iPad and replicate this by going with the pump bass to start with. And you'll notice here that we get additional tabs. We've now got the LFO tab here, which we can actually change around. So let's go back and see. We can change this in many ways. We can change the waveform of the LFO in ways to change how modulated parameter moves over time. So we can change the shape. In the Logic session player, tap the LFO button. Yes. We can change the amplitude by dragging the amount slider, which is over here on the side. We can change the waveform. So you can tap on the waveform button to change it to a different waveform, triangle, sine, square, or random. And you can change the starting point of the LFO waveform by dragging the phase value. All right, so let's try those 3 things to start with. Let's come over here and see what this is going to do with this LFO. So at the moment, that's what we've got. We can change the amount here. All right, let's just set a section for ourselves here so that we can play this little part over and over again. So as you add the amount, you'll hear that it goes slow up and down. So let's just start with a lower amount here. Pretty cool, yeah. Now, if we turn the amount up a whole heap and use this same waveform on the LFO, so the pumping changes and the way that it actually moves through there changes each time. We've got different shapes. So again, you can go, what were they called? The sine wave, the triangle, sine, square, or random. So we've got the triangle that we had there. We've got the sine wave, which is a smoother sound. It's going to give you this. You've got your square wave, which is a little bit more extreme. And random. I don't really know when or why you'd use random there. So yeah, so we'll stick with the triangle one here, which sounded pretty cool there. So we've got the rate here as well that we can change with the LFO. So you get sort of a slower pumping. So yeah, there's lots of things to play around with here. And you can sync as well. You can sync to the region, the chord, the beats, or free. What's free? That's interesting. Or random sync there. We'll leave that synced to the region. So you've still got complexity and intensity. So you still have all the same controls that you have for your regular bass. But so we can change this up because obviously that's a very basic one. So if we increase the complexity and intensity, we're going to get a different sound. which is cool. And we've also got slides. So we'll come back to our manual to have a quick squiz at slides as well. So, oh, we've got more. Oh, that's right. We can change the we can change the waveform by changing the curve value and by actually manually adjusting the curve. So let's just do that real quick. So we can actually tap on and move these around. So we can tap on the values and we can change them. So you can tap with your finger and actually change these to a completely different shape. That's kind of rad. And we can come in here and change the curve as well. So we can, I don't even know this. Oh, there you go. So you can do it with your finger, or you can come in here and change it to, let's go with like a wave like this. This could be pretty rad. All right, let's try it. I kind of like that with the note held at the end. That's kind of cool. So yeah, so there's some great things we can play with here. LFO rate. See, this is where I go. It gets over my head, doesn't it? So you've got the LFO rate is scaled to the length of the region, is the length of each chord. Okay. It modulates in sync with the beat, and free, it modulates at the frequency set by the rate knob. Okay. So that's why the rate wasn't really doing stuff before, because we needed to do that. Apply the LFO to other parameters. So in the Logic Flow, tap the synth player, apply to the note length. Okay, yep. So that was what we were playing with before. That was the little more button where we could actually change what it applies to. What else have we got? The common settings to all bass players, yes. The octave and melody for synth basses. So this is what we've already had in a lot of our others, but we'll come in here and have a quick look at them. So if we come in here to the main section here, if we wanted this to be a little bit higher, so that's a bit low down, we can actually bring the range up there. We can also change the octaves, so how much different octave versus melody we want in this, so that you're going to get some cool octave basses, and you can change the note length there as well. So let's bring the note length down a little bit and... And the cool thing is, if you're like, oh, I don't really know about those words there, if you hit regenerate, it'll do something slightly different every time. So you can kind of say, it's like you're saying to the synth player, close, but let's try something a little bit different. Yeah, then you go like, oh, I don't really know about those octaves there. So let's reduce the amount of octaves. And again, it'll regenerate, or you can tap the regenerate button. Yeah, that looks a bit better. I don't think we need the octave going up at the start there. That's kind of rad. And the cool thing about that is that's not a sound that I would have programmed in there for this, but this sort of gives you some creative juices, and that's the thing. It does. It helps you understand how a regular synth works, like the low frequency oscillator, the envelope. This is all stuff that I'm still learning. You probably sense that I'm not a synth guy. I don't really know how all this stuff works, but it's fun to play around with, isn't it? So the note length, note range, we've already done that. The note length, the note range. You can add, so the 808 bass style, you can embellish the bass line with repeated notes and triplets. So you add repeats and triplets. So let's see that, because this is in the 808 bass style only. And this is the stuff I wanted to get into the weeds of, is what's in particular styles and not others. So let's just add another bass session player. And this time we want it to be the 808 bass. We'll solo it just for now. And out of the box, cool. All right, so it says in the manual here, okay, so here we've got repeats and triplets. So this is where we can make our 808 bass do some cool things. So if we turn the repeats up, just go to 100%, and we'll get... and if we add in triplets, let's just go nuts with it. then we'll get sort of some different sound, like what do these sound like together? Not too bad. Yeah, nah, because we've got the triplets in there now. They don't sound so good. So that's something you have there. Now there was something else here for the pump bass style that we could play with, which is what this. The pump bass style has modulated ducking to create a pumping effect similar to a sidechain processor. So Logic Pro Session Editor, tap the details button and we can change the intensity of the ducking effect. You've got to be careful when you say ducking effect. And we can change the shape of the ducking curve. All right, what the duck? Let's dive in. This is going to be ducking cool. All right, no more duck jokes. So where are we? The pump bass, this one. And under the details, we have the pumping. Yeah, so the intensity of the pumping effect and the shape of the... Okay, so there's this one here. So the amount... So if we turn the pumping all the way down, you're going to get rid of the pump, which is kind of annoying. Turn it back up. That's cool. Let's change the shape, bring it down. So you can hear that the rhythm of it's changed there. And there that you've almost got... So if you've ever done any side chaining, this will be pretty familiar to you because that's the sort of the amount of the shape of the ducking is like how much it's really going to go all the way down. But you usually don't want it to pump completely off. So there you go. So that's another option. So this is the thing. The problem with this manual is there's no complete guide. This is why I have to do these videos. It's why I need to do a complete guide because I need to take all these little additional things and do the complete bass session player guide that includes all of these sort of things. The phrase length, in the details view of the synth place, you can change the length of the phrase. The phrase is the sequence of notes that forms a distinct musical idea, such as a repeating bass line. You can set the phrase length to different values or the length of the chord or region. So in Logic Pro, what we can do is we can, in the session player, tap the details, the probability of rhythmic variations. You've got the probability of notes being transposed by an octave in the octave, and you've got the probability of melodic variations over time. So what that is all these options down here. So these, again, is sort of like your randomize function. So if we, at the moment, the rhythm is set. If we go up to like 55 on the rhythm, it's going to have a higher probability of rhythmic variations. Same with the octave. Higher, let's do it to 100. And the melody. So yeah, there's more options in here to really sculpt your sound. It's almost like, I think this is why I avoid some of these things sometimes, because it's almost like information overload, isn't it? And again, regenerate if you just want to try something different. And cool. What else do we have over here in the synth players? All right, slides. Should we do some sliding? Slides. Let's change our slides. So if a Logic Pro, we can change the slides. So we've got the amount of slides, we've got the slide time, we've got the scale slide length. I think I have to do like a separate video on each one of these subsections. I think I'd just have to do a slides video because look at all the freaking options that we have with just the slides. We can change all of this. You can change how legato the slides are, start on the note start or towards the next note. We've got the curve setting here again that you can change. So if you want it to be a straight slide or do you want it to curve up or down, you can change the type, either an S curve or like a straight fade curve there, which is cool. And the time of the slide and the amount of the slide. So yeah, let's with whatever settings I just put in there, what's this going to have done? All right, cool. Let's turn the slide time down so that we can hear these shorter little slides, and we'll change the curve back to an S curve to make it do a woo. And of course, probably wouldn't want quite that much slide going on, so we can drop the amount down. Very cool. So lots of things that we can do to change up our sounds using the slides here. You can change the slide mode for use with other software instrument plugins. The Logic Pro can use a synth player base with another synthesizer plugin. You can set the slide mode and send information to those plugins in the session player, pitch bend, studio bass. Okay. That's next level for me. If you know me, I don't do a whole lot. And then you got MIDI mode slide settings. So yeah, my MIDI synth knowledge, my external synth knowledge is even less. For the sequence-based style, add note settings to extra 8th or 16th root notes to the bass line. I have not even looked at this one. So I have not played with the synth bass enough. Let's come over here. Yeah, look, it's a hello, Professor Boomer. Hope you're doing well. It is. It controls all the MIDI things. It does. It's a MIDI generator, MIDI controller, a MIDI everythinger. All right, let's create. We'll just mute these ones out for now. Let's create a new bass player, and we want this time the sequenced bass. Sequenced. All right, and this is where within the pattern, what is it showing us here? The add note setting adds extra 18th or root notes. In Logic Pro, the session player for the sequence bass, tap the patterns button and then choose a setting for the add notes pop-up. Okay. That would be in the patterns. All right. So let's come back over to the iPad and tap on patterns. And yeah, we have this. We have add notes. So you can add extra 8ths and 16ths to it. Let's add extra 16th notes and use this style because this is going to be all over the shop. This is going to look fun. So you can hear all those extra notes being added in there. If we didn't want the add notes, so go back to the standard way, you'll just get something more like this. Or 8th notes. Yeah, cool. So that's another thing that we can change in here. You can emphasize accents for the sequence space. So at least it does put it into chunks. It's like, here's all the things you can do with the 808, here's all the things you can do with the pump bass, and here's the sequence based. You can use velocity, note length, or a MIDI CC target to emphasize accents derived from the chosen pattern. In the Logic session player, tap details and change the note velocity accents, the note length accents, and the MIDI CC accents. Drag vertically on the MIDI CC. Change the MIDI CC target, tap the More button, and then choose a new CC in the CC target pop-up menu. I think I need to do a course on MIDI because I've never used it. Like GarageBand has basic MIDI functionality, but yeah, I've never learned any of this sort of stuff. So details. So here you go. You've got accents, you've got velocity, note length, and MIDI CC. So let's just let's hear what these do. We'll start with velocity. Play with note length, short, super long. Yeah, and sometimes it does take a minute to actually catch up with itself. And then mini CC. And that's where people that know about MIDI know where you can direct that to and how you can make that change parameters that you are controlling using the synth. So that is cool. That's an additional thing that you have there with that instrument, the sequenced bass. Yeah, there you go. There's the MIDI CC target. Change how sequence-based notes respond to chord changes. The chord response determines how that does it. So in the chord response pop-up, choose one of the following. All, shift all notes, shift bass notes, shift first note of the chord, shift on phrase start, or shift none. Huh. So let's have a look at this. The synth bass. In the Logic, tap on the details. That's where we are. And what are these? So the all... There it is, chord response. So it's going to shift all, just shift the bass notes. So if we just say shift the bass notes, what's that going to do? Okay, so it just gives you like different, it makes sure that a bit of variation in there. So basically, if you don't want it to be right on the chord, so you know how sometimes your bass line, you might want it to just play a little bit outside of the actual notes of the chord. That's what you were hearing there with the chord response, which you can change in that one. That is it for the bass. We've got the keyboard player performance in Logic Pro for iPad, which I think I might save for next week. I thought there would be nowhere near that many things that were different for just the bass, but there were, which is kind of nuts. Thank you, Mark. Supper's calling. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you for hanging out with us here today. Mini Mac M4 about to get more affordable and perfect. Yeah, look, the Mac Mini M4 is just golden. Like, tiny little thing. Thomas Christ has had one. Thomas, your opinion on it? Well, there he is. He's already put his note. Got one last year. It's been great. Yeah, and if you can, the M4 Pro definitely is going to give you a little performance nudge. Also, yeah, kind of like inversions of chords, totally. So yeah, you can change up the response there to say, look, do you want it to always be root note? Do you always want it to follow the chord exactly as it is? Yeah. I know, I do. So I've got to actually get it. The problem is I've got to turn their documentation into something where if I'm just doing, so I need to work out, do I do I think I do each bass. So I do a complete guide to each bass, but it means that I'll be covering the same stuff for a lot of them. So I'll probably have to do like the session player bass and then a separate one that goes through the modulated bass, separate one that goes through the pump bass, separate one that goes through the sequence bass. We'll see. We'll play around with it. So why don't we just, before we finish up here, why don't we just have a little play and turn this into something? Hello, Brad. I'll go and check your question in just a sec. Yeah, if anyone has anything that they want to know, anything they want to add, please do. Will all these basses work together? Can we get like a giant, massive bass sound? Not bad. Let's get some drums and let's use one of the other new features of this, which is if we come in here to our loops, we can search, we'll go drums and we'll search and we'll say house vibes. There you go. Yeah, we definitely need the Neon Dreams topper in here. All right, that's enough. You can come in. Come and play. Come in and play a Neon Dreams topper. What else you got? No, we only wanted drums. That's not drum. Okay, Disco Beat, you're in too. What are we going to get for this? No, you're a bit much. So here's the cool thing though. If you've got something that's close to what you want, with the new feature, we can actually drag it up to the top here and it's going to find similar loops to that one. So if that one was not quite right, we can find something like that that might be slightly better. And we'll just move it in and leave it there for now. Let's see if we can find a loop that's a melodic loop here now. So we'll turn off that and we'll go to Synth and we will search for funky disco. Because why not? All right. Now, I've forgotten, will these follow our chords for us? I don't know that they will they? But can we change the chords of these? I don't think we can. I think I'm dreaming about this. Apply region chords to chord track? No. So I think loops have built in, like they won't change up their chords. So that's not going to work so well. But we could play something in here if we wanted to by using the keyboard player because we have our own built-in synth player, don't we? So if we want some funky synth sound, we can add a keys player. And we can jump in here and go with a rhythmic chords on this one. And let's come over to here, go to our presets. Nope, that's not where the presets are. They're up the top here, aren't they? Yeah. We'll go with Midnight Push. Yeah. All right, what have we created? What monstrosity? Stop. And the cool thing is that, yeah, we've just created something out of nothing and it sounds kind of rad. We can also just change these chords. So don't forget that you can change things up on the fly and all of our performances will change to meet our new chords. That sounds pretty fresh, if I do say so myself. So play with your session players. They're fun. Emilio says for both bass and keys synth play, we can control what MIDI CC parameters it is using for LFO, slides, envelope, and some detail parameters. Works with any synth plugins, including AUV3s, which would be great if you used the Synth Master plugins and SynthWorks and Synth somethings. I don't. Again, my knowledge of MIDI and synth is limited at best. Do you have a vid about setting up buses? I got a quick tutorial from Jay this morning, but need to watch it a little more to get comfortable. So I believe so. I definitely covered it in very early on in, what have we got? Pete John's Logic Pro bus. I think I might have even covered it in my first song video. Let's see if I've done a decent job of doing this, then I'm good. Would it be in the mixer section? Surely under the mixer section I covered buses. Let's see. What did you do, Johns? All right, let's just listen to me. Longer faders, which is a pretty cool option there. But what I like to do is tap in the top right here and have this full screen view so I can see everything going on with my tracks. Now there's two basic modes for your mixer. There's the setup mode and the mix mode. So if you're in setup mode, this is where you're going to set up your sends and receives, change your plugin details and your order of your plugins, and do all of that maintenance. And then once you're ready to get into the artistic side of mixing, you can actually hit the mix mode and you can jump back into the setup mode. Connect to any one of our mixer channels here. We can simply select the channel that we want to add to and then hit this plus button here and select just this. We can increase this again if we want to make it big, and then we can select a brand new. Maybe I didn't go into it. Why don't we do a quick look at it now? Yeah, we've got some time. Is Frank Terzo doing a community pulse today? I forgot to check prior to the show. Let's find out. Frank Terzo. Oops, I'm in full screen mode. Don't need to do that. Frank Terzo community pulse. It'd be what, 101 today? Episode 101? Yes, who's he got on there? Oh, John W. Adams is on the community pulse, which is kicking off in an hour's time. So there you go. I'll make sure that you get sent over to there. I'll drop a link here in the chat, so if you do want to go and check it out, you can do so. All right, done. All right, so let's come in here and look at buses, shall we? So we'll go to our mixer. So we've got our tracks here. This is pretty cool. We've already got a bit of a something going on here. So now, as someone who doesn't use buses very much at all, let's see if I can on the fly remember how to use them. So we need to go into the setup mode. Yeah, there we go. So we've got at the moment, we've got 3 tracks across here. We've then got, these ones are muted out. Let's just delete them just so that they're not taking up room. Delete objects on the side with tracks on the tracker. Yeah, that's fine. Delete those. So we've just got the ones we're using. Okay, so if we play back, we'll see all of the different tracks playing here. Including on our stereo out bus. Now, overall stereo out's a bit loud, which is the good thing about Logic Pro. You can turn down your output. Okay, so when you're just doing your basic mixing, you'll be in mix mode here, right? Which hides your sends and it removes all the additional stuff that you don't need as part of that. When you want to start using buses, you add it by tapping the plus button here, and you're in setup mode here. So the sends will actually send one track to another one. So if we tap send here, at the moment we got no buses, right? So we don't have any buses set up. To set up a new bus, you literally just do create new bus. And that creates a track that's an aux track, an auxiliary track. And means that now this track, this one here, is being sent through this auxiliary track here. And that's the basics of sends. Now you'll see here that you've got there bus aux1, and this little dial is how much it gets sent out to there. And what would you use this for? Well, you'd use it for your effects. So if we tap effects and we went with, say, a stereo delay. So just a standard delay plugin, and we go back to our mix mode, and we just set this plugin up to be a stereo delay plugin. We'll go with something that's going to be pretty running on the cliffs. So we'll just set it up so that it's actually going to hear a delay. So that, is that on the right one? Did I set that on the right track? Yeah. So there's our stereo delay. Here's our original channel. If we solo this, you'll hear just that channel. And because we put that really intense delay on there, it's still going there. So what this is, you've now got this aux track. This is our delay track. So what you do is you'd come in here and rename this, and I'd just go bus delay or whatever you want to call it. And all this track is now doing is controlling this one plugin. So now what we can do is, if we wanted different amounts from different tracks to go to this plugin. So let's just play with this synth to start with. So we'll play it there. So see how you can can see a little bit of it going to here. If we just solo the plugin, all you're hearing now is that delay effect. And if we send more of it, so that's just playing that bus. So now when we come back here and actually turn on the track, you'll hear the original track and the delay. And as Professor Boomer says here, yeah, you can also do cool things like side chaining, and you can send buses into other buses, because like you'll see here that if we go back to our setup mode, you can actually send this out somewhere else as well. So you can go through layers. So if you think of it in terms of that, it's basically like having your own separate effects track, and you send everything into that. And the cool thing is that instead of, so say you loved that delay and you've got this delay set up on here, and you want a little bit of that on, say, your other tracks, you can come and find another one that you're using. So let's go to our beat here and play this one. We'll just solo this. So we've got this. So if we want, turn that off. If you want a little bit of that same delay on this one, we do the same thing here. So we just add a send by tapping sends. Instead of creating a new bus this time, we use our delay bus. And if you name them, you can see exactly what you're doing there. So we just tap on bus delay, and then you'll see that we've got the little knob there. We can decide how much of that we actually have in here. So now let's turn this up, and it'll send this over here through our delay bus. Turn it up. See, it's popped over here now. Sounds pretty rad. Bring it in with this. So it means that you don't have to fiddle about by putting the same. Say you want a little bit of reverb on every track or a little bit of delay on most of your tracks except your bass, you can do it this way. You can also set up a separate, I think you can do it by adding a bus track. I usually don't do it that way. There's somewhere where you can say create new track and create a bus. But to be honest, the way that I do it is just to go to the track that you want to send it to. So let's say we want some reverb on this. Is this one actually part of it? Is this something we're playing? No, that's got nothing on it. Where's our key? We'll go this one, our sequence bass here. So we want some reverb on this sequence bass. Again, biggest tip is, if you can't find, you're like, where are my sends? How come I can't add new buses? Always make sure that you hit the plus here. Bump. Yeah, look, you got track stacks, you got track folders as well. There's other ways that you can do this. This is sort of the, I guess, old school way. If you've used like a mixing desk and you've used like external plugins, imagine that this is a delay unit that you've got, and all you're doing is you're plugging your track out into that delay unit. So it's going to feed it through there and come back. That's why we call it a bus or a send receive, because you're sending the sound out there and then it's coming back in again. So again, we've got this track here, which is doing this. And we will add a new send. This time we'll create a new bus again. And there you go. It's created this aux2 bus. Let's rename it straight away so we know what we're doing with it. Rename this one as bus and reverb. Now we want to set ourselves up a reverb. We'll add an audio effects here, and we'll type in here, reverb. We'll add the Chroma or the Quantec room simulator. You can use whatever you want. And this can also be external plugins as well. You're not stuck with just using Logic stuff, but you know that I'm a simple man. Then go back out of setup mode. Once you've set up your bus, go back to your mix mode so you don't get confused and add more things. Set up our Chroma plugin, Chroma Verb. Let's make it like a concert hall Chroma Verb plugin. So that's done. Turn that off, turn that off. All right, back to our mixer. So now we've just got this reverb. And again, this is now going to bus 2. So see how this says bus 1, bus 1? This has got bus 2 added to it. So if we solo this and we start turning this up, you'll hear the reverb kick in. There you go. Absolutely. And that's the other thing. Your aux track, you can have all the different plugins that you want in here. So if you wanted this to not only have reverb, but you wanted this to also have a compressor on there, you also want to have, what else can we put on here that's weird? Like some EQ. You can use like the channel EQ. So you can add in as many things as you like, layer them all up, and now this will go through all of those plugins at once. And again, if you want to hear the effect it's having, that's what the effect's doing over there. Yeah, and look, you can do summing stacks to create a bus with the same name as the stack easier. Yeah, and that's the thing. The great thing, but also the problem with Logic Pro is that there's more than one way to do everything. You can use Logic Pro for your entire life and never touch a bus, an aux, a send, a stack, a folder. And to be honest, that's what I do a lot of the time. A lot of my tracks are like 12 tracks. It's guitars, vocals, bass, drums. And if I want some reverb on a track, I just add an inline plugin, because of course you could do the exact same thing as this by just going to the actual track and adding your plugin there. So you don't need to use sends. You don't need to use buses at all. What it does though is if you're going to add, say you want to create a room sound for your whole performance and you've got 20 different tracks, guitars and drums and vocals, and you want them all to have just a little bit of that sound, well then you can do that. You can set up that sound, set up the effect the way you like it, and then choose how much goes in. And it's just an easy way that you can come back, and if you want to tweak things, you can just come in here and go, I want a little bit less of that. You can also turn the actual track up and down to show how much of it comes through. So you kind of got two different controls. You can say how much of the overall effect do you want, and then how much do you want to send from each individual track over to your buses. So there you go. There's Buses 101. Hopefully that helps out a little bit, Brad. But yeah, I think that needs to go on the list. So I'm going to come over to my tab here and say, what do I need to do? I need to do sends and buses in Logic Pro for iPad. I think I need to talk to Professor Boomer and get his insights into some better ways to do it, perhaps. I want to do vocals and use Mixbox, but I don't want to have it on every track because it uses a lot of power, so I want to set them up. Yeah, absolutely. So, and look, because we've got time, because we're already in the weeds, let's do that. So, because I think I'd have Mixbox set up on here. So let's add another bus to this. We'll create a new bus, and you could just call your bus Mixbox. Like, this is a good thing. Just rename it and just go Mixbox in nice big capitals, so you know that this is your Mixbox plugin. And then you come in here, you search for Mixbox, you add it there, and you've got it. So then you can come in here, and this is why it's cool. You can use third-party plugins. Come into there, there's your Mixbox view. Doesn't look lovely, to be honest, here in Logic Pro. It looks better in GarageBand. But yeah, you come in here and say you want your EQ81 channel strip. You want your modulation effects. Let's put some auto pan on there. Let's put a delay, some tape echo, and let's throw a saturation plugin on here. This could be interesting. Okay, let's see what this sound does without changing anything else. So we'll come back to our mixer, slide this up. So yeah, so you've created that now by just adding that. And we've now got this, which will solo, going out to the Mixbox bus. So we'll play it, and then we'll add that bus and see what this is actually going to do. Just the effect is there. Remove the track. So yeah, so you can have your Mixbox set up with everything you want, with all the effects that you want in there, and then you're good to go. You can add all those in. And yeah, just have a little bit of everything going to Mixbox. Because yeah, you're right. Otherwise, if you're having Mixbox running completely on each individual track, then it's going to use up a lot of space, a lot of memory. Whereas this way, it's only running the plugin once, and then you're just deciding. Then you just come back to here, you hit your button, and you set these up. And what you could do, what I'd suggest you do, Brad, is once you've done this once and you're comfortable with it, create yourself a template project. So do this where you've got your Mixbox set up with the plugins you like to use in it, and then set up a bunch of guitar tracks, bunch of vocal tracks, bass tracks, whatever, and then send them to it, and then save that all in. Because you don't want to, every time you create a new project, you don't want to have to set up your Mixbox bus and then set up all your sends from all your different tracks. So yeah, it would be totally workable. So again, to refresh, you've got, so to set it up for the first time, you're here in your track. You've got everything going on there, and then tap on the mixer icon, go into setup mode by hitting the plus button there. Go to any track and hit the send button, and then hit create new bus. Set yourself up your bus by tapping on there, rename it, cool bus, and then set up your audio effects by tapping on the audio effects button and setting up whatever effects that you want to add onto it. Then go back to the channel that you've actually sent it to and use this dial to turn up or down how much is actually being sent to that track. And you'll be good to go, and then rinse and repeat, and you're ready for rock and roll. There you go. Hopefully that helped you out. We could also add and use sends via the plugins view under the sends tab rather than the mixer. Yeah, so there is under here. It's a good point. Again, there's so many ways to do this. So another thing you can do. So if you don't like being in the mixer tab or you're out here and you're playing with things, you've also got your sends here. And it could actually be a little bit easier to see the amounts because the knobs are bigger and you can see the amounts that are being sent to each one. So yeah, if you want to check out your buses, that's another way to look at them here under tracks. So in the plugins, you've got your track plugins there, but you can also see where it's being sent to. So what buses it's being sent to and how much of each of those buses is being added. See, I told you Emilio was my external brain. He tells me everything that I forget. Professor Boomer, looks like you're going to do the same thing. We're going to finish up shortly. So if you've got any final questions, any final thoughts, please let me know. Hello, Philly Cheese, KC. Now, that's our friend Phil. But I like the Philly Cheese, KC, as well. Very cool. Just have to remember to hit the plus button. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the biggest mistake that I see folks make, is that they get confused because the mixer, just remember that the mixer has two different modes. The mixer has a setup mode and it has your mixing mode. So always make sure you're in setup when you're adding things, adding plugins, adding sends, and then when you're ready to actually use them and mix, you can go into your mix mode. That's the only real trap there. Where you'll be here and you'll be like, where do I tap? Where do I add? There's nothing to add. Hit that one and all is revealed and you'll be good to go. Do a track stack with all your vocals and put Mixbox on the main stack. That's another way to do it again. You can do a track stack. I need to cover all this stuff, don't I? I do. All right. There you go. That is going to do it for the show. It was a bit of a roller coaster of a show. Not exactly usual or the normal sort of show. But this show, I've realized over time, isn't really normal. It kind of is what people want it to be. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's just a place to hang out and talk about GarageBand, talk about Logic Pro, answer questions, help people discover new things like the new synth players that we did today, and of course talk about a few news and notes that are going on around the world and speculate on things and rumors and stuff. So I hope you had a good time. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. If you're catching up on the replay, you rule, and thank you as well. I'm just setting up this send over to Frank Terzo's Community Pulse show, so you'll be sent over there next. Yeah, replay crew, love you big time. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button too. If you do want to find out more about what I'm doing, studiolivetoday.com. Go there, because if you go to there, you can join the mailing list, you can check out the gear guide, you can subscribe to the channel, you can look at all the FAQs and all the different things we have over there. And every video, all 2,500 plus videos are actually in there. If you've never gone there, everything that I've ever done is there since the very start, because I've kept an archive of it all. So if you come over to here, front page, very simple. YouTube, live shows, podcasts, gear guide, Facebook, Discord, Twitter. Is this thing on? Don't go to Twitter. You'll find nothing there. Instagram and my email address, they're all there. But look at these archives. They go all the way back to January of 2016. So if there's anything I've done here on the channel, it's there. And weirdly, I'd put this on here before I'd actually released this publicly. My very first video was not released to YouTube till the 1st of February. This blog post was on the 24th of January, 2016. So maybe I post-dated it or did something weird. But everything's here, has been for the whole time. So all of the different videos are here. If you're ever wondering, have I caught up on the latest Pete Johns videos? Well, if you go here, you'll find out. So like January, the whole month, like everything that we did, all about Logic Pro for iPad 3, all of those are right there. So if you get lost, if you can't find things on YouTube, go to the website. Come over here and check it out. It's got some cool things on there as well, like the studio gear guide for folks that were talking before about buying new things, whether it's a Mac or whether it's just simple things like USB adapters and hubs. You can find all of my recommendations on the gear guide. So there you go, studiolivetoday.com. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, hit the thumbs up button. Huge thank you to all of my patrons and all the members of the channel, everyone who's donated to the channel in recent times. You're all awesome, and I appreciate you greatly. And thanks to this man here, to Mr. Thomas Christ, who is here each and every show, giving you all of the information, all the things that I forget about. That's going to do it. So what do we say at the end of every show? Be kind to yourselves, folks. Be kind to others. Keep creating, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Let's go out with this song. Yeah, rad. Bye, everybody.